From the NLRPD to KTHV to behind the microphone, it's Scott Romine with Gwatney Unplugged.
Welcome back to Gwatney Unplugged. I'm your host, Scott Romine. In this segment, I've been so excited about this, talking to one of my heroes, one of my absolute inspirations when I was growing up, Larry Wilcox, of course, from CHiPs, one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Good morning. Well, thank you.
Man, just great to talk to you. Hope to meet you in person here one of these days.
Well, maybe the next time I'm in Arkansas, we'll do that.
So you've been to Arkansas before?
I have, just to kind of stopped here and there, but haven't really had the time to enjoy it or visit it.
It's a beautiful state. You should come out and see us. Stay with me. I've got an extra motorcycle. We'll have a big time.
All right, we'll do that.
Hey, thank you for your service. I don't know if everybody realizes you're a decorated Marine.
Yep, back in the day, 1967, I was in the good old Marine Corps in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. And, we were up on the DMZ and had a lot of rich experiences with a lot of great young men that served our country and, were just really, really special heroes. So I'm grateful for my time. And
you come back after that, and what leads to thinking about acting?
Well, I had done a little acting before, and I also played electric organ in a band, so I thought of myself as a singer, musician, and an actor. And so I studied acting before I went in the Marine Corps, and then when I got out of the Marine Corps, you don't know what you want to be in life when you're young. Or some people do, God bless them, but I didn't. And so I thought I would go to med school, and I think my ego said, you're going to become a doctor or a dentist. And so I studied both pre-med and acting, which is a kind of a contradiction. But the next thing I knew, I was starring in Lassie as a television series, and then Movies of the Week and guest stars on television, and then CHiPs, and then went on to produce Ray Bradbury Theater, a television series on HBO, and lots of other stuff. So, the business was really good to me. I hadn't planned on being an actor, and didn't really understand, and to this day don't appreciate all the celebrity pomposity, if you will. It's just a job, so get over yourself. But it was fun,
It's so cool to hear you say that, because it's easy to get an impression of some actors that maybe don't appreciate the roles that really made them famous, or they kind of shun, or I'm past that, or what. And you seem to embrace it.
Yeah, I'm grateful, because what I think actors. I mean, when you hear actors on talk shows, sometimes you end up not liking them because they're a lot different than all the roles they've played. But I think when you, as an actor, you have to realize that, you're a brand, and you get marketed every day by NBC or CBS or a movie or Warner Brothers or Disney or whomever. But the point is that you're part of branding the movie, and then in fact branding yourself. And if you don't, hopefully you don't start believing in all your publicity and you realize that you're just a tool. And if it's leveraged graciously and with humility, it can be a lot of fun.
Hey, Larry, we're a car-oriented show, and I've read online that you're a race car driver.
Yeah, I used to race cars, I was kind of a wannabe, but I was in the SCCA, and then I set, 8 international land speed records in a little LN7 Mercury in Bonneville Salt Flats. And then I raced Class 8 trucks in the Baja 1000 and the Frontier 500 over in Vegas, and the Mint 400 and all those desert races. 130-mile-an-hour pickup truck that we would race down the coast in different facilities that just beats the hell out of you and is really, really hard on your body. And then I raced Volkswagen Rabbits for a couple of years. That was fun. And, you had 110 miles an hour maximum, and Formula Fords and open wheel cars and Super Vs. So I had a lot of fun with cars. To this day, I really enjoy cars. I think that cars in most cases are, pieces of art. And the engineering in cars today, like, the clutches in Porsches and the whole Porsche motor to me is just a fascinating feat of engineering. But no matter what the car is, we had everything from Mini Coopers to Jaguars to Rolls Royces, you name it. And
do you collect them? Do you have a collection of cars or some favorite cars you've owned?
I don't have a collection. My theory is that I like to have a courtship, if you will, for a few years and then move on to a different car and experience different things. And so I think I had fun initially. I had Jaguars XKEs, and then I had the Mini Coopers with the right-hand steering with the balanced racing engines in them, and then I went from the Jaguars to Rolls-Royce Corniche, convertible Corniche, and then I kind of felt like a pimp driving that, so I got rid of that, and I got a 930 turbo Porsche, and I had a blast in that car. One day I came out to my parking lot when fax machines first came out, and I was so proud of my fax machine. I was signing a contract with an author named Morris West, who I was buying a screenplay from in Australia, and I came out and my Porsche was gone. So they found it about 7 days later with my license plate 7 Mary 3 from chips on it.
Oh, of course.
In a shell, but everything was gone, So, but I've had a bunch of different cars, and now I'm looking at either a 911 Turbo S Porsche, or I may get a SUV, a Jaguar. I like that new turbo SUV Jaguar also.
Well, we'll
and
sell
I also
you a
like
Suburban.
The Porsche Macan.
We'll sell you a Suburban from Guadney.
All right.
Hey, let me ask you about chips. Now, as I understood it, that thing was designed to utilize a under construction freeway to make a show based on having access to a freeway that was not done. Is that correct?
Yes, we used an old freeway or a new freeway that had not been completed yet. And luckily, we would go out there every day and blow up cars and go off ramps and wreck them and so on. But we were the only ones on the freeway. And if you look at the show, sometimes you'll see all of the traffic going one way, and you look on the traffic on the other side, there's no cars on the freeway. So, so we weren't so good at faking it at times. But it would be really difficult to shoot chips today because there's just no freeways available.
And you did a lot of the riding, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I did most of the riding. I did, of course, I rode motorcycles before and after chips, but I went through their California Highway Patrol training, which I learned really a lot, how to lay down that big bike and high-speed braking where the rear end comes around, and doing figure eights in a really tiny little area where it's just clutch and brake. And I always say, anyone can ride a motorcycle fast. Not many people can ride it slow and balance it. And so, I learned a lot. I rode most of my own stunts, but really hairy stunts like catching on fire and flipping the bike and head-ons, I let the stuntmen do those.
Hey, I want to ask you about someone. You had the opportunity to work with Lee Marvin in the sequel to The Dirty Dozen. What was that like? What was he like?
Well, he was a great kind of icon. I was in the Marine Corps and he was in the Marine Corps, so we had a little bit of rapport before we started, or respect, I suppose, for each other. And, I wasn't quite sure what to expect from him because he was older and really not in great health with his emphysema, having a hard time breathing. But when I did my scenes, they shaved my head and I played this little nerdy guy in Dirty Dozen 2, where he's playing baseball with no baseball. He's that illusionary, and he's pinning medals on himself and from killed Germans, and he's a weird dude. And so Lee Marvin was really complimentary and kind of admired what I had done as an actor in that role, and we got along good. And it was really great working with such a great actor as he was, and a great person. he was, the only thing some people might have misunderstood, he was grouchy during that time because he was really having a hard time breathing. In between scenes, he would be on an oxygen tank in that damp weather over there in England. And when we filmed Dirty Dozen, the American dollar was really strong. So, I mean, we lived high. We had a good time.
Man, you have had a phenomenal career, and love keeping up with you there on Facebook. And we're out of time, unfortunately, but we could talk to you all day, Larry. Thank you so much for being on.
Hey, thank you, and God bless the people in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Arkansas in general, and God bless the SEC.
Thank you, sir, and please come see us. Come see us in Arkansas. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank Scott Romine, Gwatney Unplugged. That was so cool to talk to one of your heroes. See you next week on Gwatney Unplugged.